Common Sense Media, activated.
Live from the 210, it's the Wave of the Future Show, and we are your hosts, Mr. Trey M. Carr, and I am E. James.
Welcome to episode 10 of Wave of the Future. This is a bi-weekly discussion. It's a panel discussion with three guys that are just good friends. We usually just talk about stuff that's going on in the modern day. Stuff that we're thinking about, stuff that we're not thinking about, we bring up to the others. And eventually we all just come to a conclusion at the end of the episode, and we figure we learn a little bit more about each other and then the world at the end of it.
Yeah. Well said.
That's what we do, baby.
Hey, 10 episodes.
Yeah, 10.
10 big time episodes, man.
That's huge. I'm pumped. Air hornet a little bit.
I see you. Got to, man. Got to.
Yeah, that's a big thing, man. You know, with podcasts, they say usually podcasts die after 7. For those who don't know, we're beyond 10 at this rate. This is probably more like 20 for us.
Yeah, we had like a cool 8, 10 betas in there.
Yeah. But man, cheers, guys. I'm holding up my Pellegrino.
Cheers.
On my phone. Because I drank way too much these last couple of days seeing some friends.
Yeah, man. I went out last night. Oh, it was a lot of fun.
I realize I'm getting old. I am getting old. I can't hang like I used to. I done got old again. Can't do the things I'm used to.
You can't get old again.
Because I'm an old man. Y'all ever listen to Buddy Guy?
Nah.
Buddy Guy is one of my favorite blues players. That's a dope album. When we get done, remind me to play Oh Baby Please for you.
All right.
Man, that song right there, this dude is pouring his heart out.
Really?
I mean, you just hear it. I'm begging you, baby.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So before we get rolling here, I want to give a shout out to my man, Booty Pants, and to my neighbor. I don't know if he wants me to put his name out, but I'll just call him K, Special K. As mentioned, I went out with some people Friday and Saturday. I didn't intend to be out as late as I was, but I was, and I enjoyed every minute of it. Also, a special shout out to you guys in this journey we've been on, and an extra special shout out to Carr for doing the intros.
Thanks, man.
That was a little weird for me not doing the intro, and I loved it.
Appreciate that, man.
Yeah. We gotta rotate that duty. That was beautiful.
Yeah, it was
Good
cool,
job.
man. That was cool.
Good job.
Thanks for letting me do the inaugural second intro.
Right.
10 in, man. I get it. I give a little shout out to my managerial folks up at the Saltgrass. We've been through the ups and downs and the waves with that place, man, but there's good people still in there, man. And last night I got to go out with some of those folks, man, and it was just good times. It was good times, man. You start something new, you meet a whole lot of new people. Don't mean you got to leave the ones you know behind. So
amen to that.
It was nice to kick it with them, and just like Mr. E, I had a little bit too much to drink last night hanging out with those people, man. I was hurting this. I think I woke up still a little drunk. I woke up like 9 o'clock. I was still like a little tipsy, I think. It was, it's when you know it was fun.
Yeah, it's better than a hangover.
Yeah, absolutely. So, shout out to those folks that went out with me last night, man. That was a lot of fun. Little Woodrow's. I'd never been there before.
Did you catch your turtle race?
No, there were no turtle races, but I knew the bartender from like another Saltgrass that I worked at.
Yeah.
So I probably spent $30 on like 10 drinks.
Nice.
It was stupid.
Hey, that's what's up, man.
Yeah, it was stupid. It was fun.
Yeah, service industry perks, dude.
Yeah.
I feel that.
Yeah. It was cool, man. So shout out to the bartender who will not be named.
I wanted to give a shout out to my friend Boat Plugs and her husband, which I'll name R. It's really nice to catch up with them. Last night I was just being a degenerate playing Sea of Thieves till like 3 a.m, just caffeinated out of my mind. It was good. I don't even get a chance to really play video games like on my own. So it's nice to do it in a social setting. So shout out to y'all. I love y'all.
Yeah. I'm going to give a shout out to Boat Plugs.
Yeah.
It's been too long. I haven't been to the new house yet. Need to do that. So, what are we getting into, yo?
We gonna get to digging.
Digging? Dangling?
A little bit of confessionals.
Oh, this is my confessions.
Oh, it is Lent.
Oh, yeah. So, forgive me, Padres, for I have sinned. This is just going to be a quick thing. I don't know if anybody out there in the universe has this, but I've been kind of stuck on online gambling for a little bit, and I really shouldn't, because it has just been a vicious cycle of serotonin that I find myself doing at the end of the day. And I haven't gotten that bad to where I've been spending my own money. I've just been spending my winnings, but I think it's time to hang up the hat.
Yeah.
They're going to get you eventually. They're going to give you not even life-changing money, just a couple extra $100 every week just for you to stay hooked and think about trying to drop your own $100 into it. And I don't recommend it. It's really fun. It's just like walking into a casino without all the cigarette smoke.
I mean,
Or for
gosh,
drinks.
that's already a win. I hate going into casinos.
I like it. I like the vibe. I think that's my thing. That's my personal, like, that's the ultimate vice for me. Walking into a casino with like $100 and then just playing something like a one-armed bandit or like a craps table or something. And it's like, I don't know, there's no greater rush. And there's a lot of people with my mindset too. And I just don't want to get to that ultimate thing where I'm like putting up big money, putting up like my mortgage and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's
a gamble.
Yeah,
Yeah. I think I'm going to give that up. And I think I'm just going to give it up, not just for Lent, just for good. Because I don't think any good will come out of it. There's somebody that could benefit from playing with like $200. And I'm just here just being dumb. And that's not the way to make money. The way to make money is to earn it. So,
Well, you know, I mean, and I think, and I'm not trying to talk you into gambling, but I'm saying I think if you're, depending on the kind of person you are, if like once in a while you want to just throw away $20. Like my folks, they live in Vegas.
Yeah.
And I don't know how they do it, man. But you know, I go up there to visit, go to the casino, take like $20-$40.
yep.
And I've won big. To me, big is like a couple $100. I'm like, whoa!
Yeah.
It's like $200. And then I stop. I'm like, no. My mom's like, put it back in. Get a little bit more. I'm like, that's negative.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, I just made money.
That's the thing. You always play like with that game in your head, like, oh, I'm just down this much, but if I put maybe a little bit more, I'll be up like this much.
I can get there. I can get there. Yeah,
Yeah.
I couldn't live in Vegas and I couldn't be online. I went one time in Vegas. I got lucky. It was a Batman slot machine. I put in $20. I turned that into like $800.
Nice.
Wow.
But it got the pot got up to like $1,600. I hit jackpot.
Ooh.
So like I had a lot of money and then I just kept playing and kept playing.
Yeah.
And then like my winnings got cut in half. And I was like, all right, bro, I got to walk away.
Yeah.
I just, it's addictive. It's a thing, man. It's a thing that's, like you said, that serotonin release in your brain just for winning. It's exciting. And then of course making money. Who doesn't like making money off of hitting some numbers or like blackjack? I like blackjack.
Yeah. It's just the gamification of you and your life savings.
Yeah.
Something about it's attractive. And yeah, like even as I think about it now, I'm like, once I get my deposit from my last winnings, like it's stupid. Like I need to chill because I like my house.
Tranquilo, bro. Relax.
Yeah, tranquilito. Yeah.
It's like, what if I just,
Yeah.
it's a little bit more. Yeah. Yeah.
A little bit more. And now there's nothing.
Yep.
Right. And then you're going, so hey, baby, see, let me tell you a crazy story. Well, we got to put this house on what is it? Not Orchard. What's the one that's like 3 days?
Oh,
Perch.
It's like
Open Door.
Open Door.
I think it's Open Door, right? I think it's Open Door is the one like I think when you call them, you got to sell the house in like 3 days.
Really? Is that a guarantee? Is that like their
I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
Mm.
I should have had that. Well, we're just talking off the cuff. It's whatever. But I mean, we could follow that up. I think it's 3 days, and then you have to pay extra to extend it to 5 or 7 days. My buddy Influence sold his house, and he hit me up out of nowhere and was like, hey, what are you doing? I was like, chilling. What's up? You want to help me move? I was like, wait, what?
Oh, man.
This is like one of my closest partners. So I was like, I hopped up. He lived right down the street. I was like, man, they give you no time to get out of here. He was like, no, not at all. Not at all. So, hey, speaking of gambling and putting your house up, So I sent y'all an article from the Wall Street Journal. And, you know, I don't read a ton of the Wall Street Journal.
Yeah.
I see some, you know, articles every once in a while. But this is the first time in a long time that just on the strength of the headline alone, I was like, okay, sold. The article's entitled, "Their Offer Was Accepted. The Only Problem, the house wasn't for sale."
Yeah. This story was a can of worms, just opening it up.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So there's two stories in this one. I felt like the second one had a little bit more spice than the first story. But in the first story, a guy, what did he called up what was it?
A realtor group.
Yes, the realtor group. Thank you. My brain just stopped working. Give me 1 second here. All right. So the first story, this dude obviously comes from money. And I say obviously because, you know, $2 million.
$2 million on a house, bro. All cash.
Now
offer.
I know it. Now it is California, so things are a little inflated, but still, even a $2 million house, California, you're sitting pretty. So anyway, I'm gonna kind of like skim through the parts that I thought that were amazing in this article, right? So it says, my client was looking for a house in Floral Park. He says, we struck out on a couple, and then one pops up on the market. He sends me the listing and says, I absolutely love this house. It's big. It's got a pool. Everything he wanted. It needs some work, but for $2 million, it's pretty darn good.
It needs some work.
When I hear it needs some work, I'm like, $2 million and needs some work.
That's what I'm saying.
Can't even fathom that, but okay. So they contacted the agent. You know, he was at a reputable company. And they said there was like no open houses, right? So the company says that the buyer wanted to put in an offer. Excuse me. The guy says his client wanted to put in an offer on the house so no one takes it on the market, right? So they did the whole contingent thing, and the agent said, you know, you guys come here, we'll do the inspection on Monday, right? So they do that. They drew up an offer. It was accepted in 4 hours, which, you know, that's pretty solid time. I think ours was accepted when we bought this house about that quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about 2 to 4 hours, something like that. All right. So all cash offer. That's how you know you got money. $2 million house, all cash. Yes. Thank you for doing that right with me, by the way. That was beautiful, bro. Yeah, man. So anyway, all cash, $2 million, $1 million. Here's where things get weird. Dude says, or the agent, that is, hey, would you mind wiring the money directly to my seller's account?
Yeah.
Okay. I guess that's not normal. I don't recall. No, I think we did it through, you had to do it through a lender, don't you? You have to do it through a lender.
Yeah, normally you go through.
There's some middle. Like
you have the escrow in the middle.
Yeah. Or brokerage or whatever. Yeah. I feel like, you know, I should know this because I just bought this house almost 3 years ago, but it just seemed like the process went so quick. So anyway, $2 million house. The deposit was $70,000 or about $70,000. They said, absolutely not. Let's get on the phone. All right. So seller's like, all right, it's cool. You know, he says, I've been burned before when someone's backed out. They also said that, you know, let's not do this. So on Monday, they get to the house to do an inspection, right? And they knock on the door and it says, some dude comes out in his underwear. I wanted to read that specifically. Comes out in his underwear, no shoes on. And then they're like, we're here to do the inspection. And he's like, what are you talking about? Then they reply, you know, didn't your agent inform you? You know, we're in escrow with you guys. And so they pull out the contract, had his name and everything. And the dude says, what in the actual hell? And I quote, you guys got to leave. I never listed the house. I just bought it 2 years ago and I'm not planning on selling. Wow. I was like, how does that even happen?
Yeah.
Like how? Sway. So apparently there's a scam. What the part that it's not really clear in the article, it doesn't give you details as to like what part was the scam. Like it just kind of flips to the next one.
Yeah.
And to me, a much better story. So this guy, he's selling his house. He says that he doesn't want to list the house. Or sorry, he doesn't want to put a sign in the yard. Yeah, he doesn't want to put a sign in the yard because he's not cool with his neighbors. So, the agent's like, all right, that's cool. We'll put it out there. That's fine. They list the house. They get an offer, immediately it's quick. Like they get an offer. The buyers want to swoop in, but there's a red flag. And it's they try to get it under contract, right? And there was a bond lien. I keep saying it wrong on the house. And so they call the guy who's selling the house, right? And he's like, "Oh shit, they put a bond on the house," right? And so he finally admits that he's out for murder, and he didn't realize that they did that. So what had happened was they killed somebody. And I say he and his wife, because an important detail I did leave out is that his wife wasn't around. He was like, yeah, my wife's out of town, so I want to sell this, but I want to sell this house, right? So his wife fled.
Yeah.
His wife fled, right? And so he goes to jail. They caught her. He goes to jail. She goes to jail. They're obviously the men and women, so it's two different type of detention centers. The real estate agent is like going through all these hoops, talking to his friends and the attorney, that he knows that are attorneys to try to arrange to be able to still sell this house. Okay. And so he gets the wife to sign the paperwork. He goes up to the guy to get him to sign the paperwork finally. And the way they describe it in the article is like, I'm in jail. I mean, I'm really in there. And they open up these big old like steel doors, and he comes out and he grabs the real estate agent and gives him a big hug. And he's like, "Hey, Scott, you got it done, blah, blah, blah." He signs the paper and he goes, "Hey, man, I'm going to give you a call when I get out of jail because I want to do real estate too." Yeah. I was like, what the shit? I mean, come on, man.
That was the part that was funny for me.
Yeah, man.
When I get out of here, bro, I'm trying to be like you. Like, you made this happen. Show me how you did this, bro.
I'm like, I'm pretty sure the real estate agent guy's like, "I want nothing to do with you." Like,
yeah.
Hard pass.
Yeah.
Hard pass.
It's a strange way to walk into a deal. Like,
right.
So like I got, I guess, more of an interpretation of the story this way. Like, yeah, there was a scammer that was attempting to get that $70K wired into like an escrow account
right
before they even went to do the home inspection. But that was kind of the method of scamming. Came off like he was like a seasoned realtor. Was like, "Hey, just wire this, we can get it going." But like, no, let's go do the home inspection. That's when that guy drops communication. So there was a third party that introduced these two parties together. And it just so happened to be that the guy that was trying to get out of the murder case ended up just meeting a realtor by them knocking at their front door. And so the dude was just basically like, "Hey, this might not be a bad idea to actually sell my house now that I murdered somebody allegedly."
Ah, okay. I see you.
So yeah, that just comes up. The realtor group is like not going to turn down a deal. So I guess they maybe walked way too fast into that because of the situation, to where they probably spent a couple bucks just trying to get the home inspection and the documents all drafted.
Gotcha.
So they probably didn't take their time to do their due diligence. And then at that point, they probably went way too far into the deal to back out. And that's the sale of a lifetime. That's something you talk about with your other realtor friends. Like, yeah, I sold a house that somebody murdered somebody in. And let me tell you how it all happened.
Let me tell you.
It's all by chance. Like, that's just so crazy. The two worlds just met in that moment. And, they got the deal done.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, that was a happy ending for the real estate agent.
Dude, I'm still shook on $200 million cash or $2 million cash offer.
Yeah, the bonus. Yeah, the bonus was fat. The morality was probably like getting to the seller. They're like, "What do I do?" But then they probably got their bonus. Like, I don't mind. Mm-hmm. How do you sell a house? Okay, so you find out. All right, here's a moral question. You find out all this stuff happened in the house. Right. Do you tell the buyer, or do you just shut up and wait for like the news to come out later? Like, because that's a potential future lawsuit. Like,
I think that depends on, I feel like that'd be a state thing. I feel like different states would have different requirements regarding that. I'm not 100%.
I'm not 100% on that either, because I'm not in the real estate.
Yeah.
But that would be a good follow-up.
See what happens.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look into that one, man. I'm gonna have to call some. I got some realtor friends I know.
You know, I can talk to my realtor that's sold this house and got this house for him.
They're like, oh yeah, we didn't tell you there's a dead body in the house too.
So, oh yeah, it's still there. They buried it in the basement. We just
I'm pretty sure because, you know, I mean, there was a bond lien.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure that they were able to, I mean, they were able to.
Well, they had to start digging after that. Like, yeah.
Like, I feel like reading that story wasn't even digging. It's like, oh, there's a bond. Oh yeah, I killed somebody in here, bro. That's what that's for. I didn't know they put a lien on the house, but I still want to sell it.
Oh, this man, you know, this whole thing, man. I mean, you know, hey,
the floors are new carpet.
That's a blowover. Don't worry about
it. Hey, I think there's some blood. No, baby, don't worry about that. We'll pressure wash that. We'll paint over it. What's that stuff they do when your house like gets caught on fire, like a kitchen? They do like some sort of. They repaint over it, but they use something that kind of prevents it from like when you have water damage, prevent it from molding, and then when you have smoke, like it stops the smoke smell or.
It's like a sealant or something.
Yeah, there's something that they do.
Do they got murder sealant?
I got no sealants.
Hey, I need the murder sealant, please.
I wonder how far this obviously became a national headline. Like, when did the buyer realize that they're sitting in a murder home? Well, do they care? Because California's got crazy property. People don't care. Like, they just want to be in their nice neighborhoods and all that stuff. Like, maybe that's a story for them too.
Well, see, now you got me going like in a totally different direction. It's like when you buy an old house, it's like, do you ever wonder,
oh yeah,
how many people have died in this house?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Has anybody died in this house?
Yeah, anybody got a haunted house? Like, my parents' house was haunted for sure. Like, all day. Yeah, there's like an old man with like a fedora. Like, yeah. And I was in that bedroom for like 25 years. It was gnarly. Yeah. Yeah, there's like stuff going on at my parents' house. We talk about haunted houses next Halloween.
Ooh, yeah. Let's talk. Yeah. Save that. So, not to go deeper into darkness with murders and things, but I want to do a quick double tap on the Club Q shooter, Anderson Aldrich. That dude's facing like 323 counts. Counts. They're putting charges on him. I believe the charges are of obviously murder.
Yeah.
But first degree murder, attempted murder, and bias motivated crimes.
Yeah, so it's like, I guess every individual is like the amount of charges and all that stuff too. So that really does add up. That guy hit the slots in one big for charges.
Yeah, he's gone, man. For that first degree murder alone calls for a mandatory life sentence, prison without parole in Colorado.
You know, and that's the thing, because it's like 300 counts. At first, when I heard it, I was like, he didn't kill 300 people, and then I was like,
I guess it multiplies based on and then there's probably camera footage that they have to review, and there's probably like internet paper trail like stuff.
300 counts of, you know, you got first degree murder, attempted murder.
Yep.
You know, assault with a deadly weapon, like, you know.
Yep.
And different people, you get all those things times. I don't know how many people were injured or lost their life specifically in that tragic event.
Yeah, it's been a while since we talked about it. So I think it's 19 people were injured.
Yeah, and I guess every count counts against them as an individual. And
so you have to multiply that out.
That's insane, dude. That's just insane.
Yeah, that's due process for you.
Going to jail for the next 4 lives.
When we talked about this last time, we focused on
Richard, the hero,
Richard F. I forgot his last name, but we focused on him and his heroics for putting an end to that.
Yeah,
you know, I want to also with this bring up some ugly shit that I read on YouTube, because you know this there's a video here in the comments section. It's just ugly. You know, all the homophobic people. I don't even say homophobic. I don't say they're scared, but the people who are saying gross things about the LGBTQ plus community. Look, you don't have to agree with their lifestyle. You don't have to support it. But can we at least agree that it's murder, man?
Yeah.
Do they deserve that?
Yeah, it's like reductive when you don't care about that group, and then a school shootings as just as important. Like, you know,
I'm saying. I mean, I'm not going to go and read any of the comments because it's a waste of our airtime.
Yeah.
You know, quite frankly, but I'm sick of it, man. It's like you said, Carr, it's reductive to sit there and
just exclude different groups from the consequences that are all happening because of these like these perpetuating forums, these echo chambers.
Yes. Like I saw a word. I will say one thing. I saw a word I hadn't heard in a long time. Somebody just called them a bunch of sodomites, and I was like,
Damn,
dude, really?
it's like biblical.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I was gonna say. It's just like, come on, man. These are people. Like, imagine if one of these people were your cousin, your brother, your son, your daughter.
Yeah.
Fill in the blank. Someone that you're,
Yeah.
you know, that you're related to. Come on, man.
Someone that you love, man. Just imagine.
Yeah, exactly. Someone that you love. That's very succinct right there.
Yeah, like even if you're not part of that group, your extended family is
Exactly.
that, you know, in some form or fashion that will come down to you in degrees.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly, man. So I've said the word exactly about 8 times now.
Precisely.
Indubitably.
Sweetenly. There you go. Yo, but not to make it light or anything, but yeah, this is going to be one of those other like landmark cases where they have the amount of kind of crimes that were committed in a single act of hatred. And yeah, it's going to just keep on putting statistics into this pile, you know?
And the only thing we're going to get out of this, or the only things we're going to get out of this is, you know, regardless, don't take our guns. Gay people bad, right? They got what they deserved.
Yeah, it
And
dredges up like topics that are not really related to the actual events.
exactly,
Mhm.
exactly. And it's now positive part. That guy was a hero.
Save more lives and
Right,
probably,
right.
you know.
Save more lives by taking that guy down. But that situation shouldn't have happened anyway.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Well, sorry to the lives that were lost and everything.
Yeah,
Our
man.
condolences, obviously. but
absolutely.
yeah. I mean, everybody's got their day in court when they do something like that.
Yeah. It's one of those inevitable actions when you do something like that, man. It's coming to come around and bite you one way or another. Either you're going to end up in jail for the rest of your life or with a bullet in your brain. That's the way those two things normally play out. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
it's crazy, man. Absolutely insane.
All right. So,
Just to switch topics up a little bit, switch gears, switch tracks.
oh boy.
Just a little follow up. We were talking about that last episode. So
Mhm.
February 3rd, you had the train derailment in East Palestine, Ohio. It's been a lot of back and forth going on about this, man. A lot of ups, a lot of downs, a lot of people talking, a lot of action, a lot of inaction. I think this is kind of one of the falls to our country when something like this happens. It's the state. Oh no, it's the city. Oh no, should be the federal government or the federal agencies helping. There's a lot of non-help going around.
Yeah, like the bureaucracy that's getting people to stop, like simply just going to go provide relief.
Yeah, like
Right.
instead of going in there and fixing the problem, it's like
Yeah,
we point fingers at not even who to blame, but who should go fix the problem.
yeah. And it seems like when you bring up FEMA, like FEMA gets brought up every time. Like, what are the mechanisms at play that always point to FEMA being the one that's not like serving or doing the job? Like,
Right.
those are questions, but people just want to use that word like, oh, is the damn FEMA not going to give me my water or whatever. Like, yeah, it happened with Flint, happened like with Katrina, it happened all these times. But what are those things that are put in place that stop a lot of just obviously like helpful reactions to these things?
Yeah.
Like what pulls the brakes on this, you know?
Well, man, bad choice of words.
Yeah.
You say pull the brakes. I mean, not to make light
That
of the
was my
situation.
switch track.
Yeah. No. There are so many things to unpack with this situation.
Yeah.
I mean, they said it was safe. I mean, the chemicals that are in the air, they said it was safe for them to go back, or back into, in the
Into
area.
town. Mhm.
Right. But it really isn't, apparently.
It's like scorched earth, man, with like forever chemicals. Like, it's crazy.
Right. And then I think you and I were talking about it in the pre-show, dead animals.
Yeah,
Yeah.
over 43,000 dead animals in the area, like livestock, pets, wilderness. Like it's scary, man. Honestly, it's like scary to think about that. And
And if I understand my geography correctly, this is East Palestine. I think this is on the border of Virginia, Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania.
I think up to say
Yeah,
Virginia. Thank you.
Pennsylvania. Mhm.
Border of Pennsylvania. So the people in Pennsylvania have to worry about this stuff.
Yeah,
absolutely.
water flows like
The runoff.
Like me on mic.
There you go.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. They have I was reading an article, Golden Eagle, it's like a major grocery chain out there. They're pulling waters out of the shelves because their distribution plant's like 30 miles from where the train crash happened.
So they don't even know if they need to check.
They don't know. So they're just being precautionary, but it's it's where do you get your water from? You get it from the ground, you put it in the bottles. That's what they do. You don't know what's going on. So going back to FEMA real quick. So they're FEMA's sending agents, but they're not giving them like the major, like, what's it called? It didn't meet the definition of a major disaster under federal law. So I guess there's the 1988 Stanford Act says a major disaster is defined by any natural catastrophe in the country that causes damage of such severity that the president determines it is beyond the combined capabilities of state and local governments to respond. I think the key word in that definition is natural catastrophe. Specifically. And I think you read that, you can kind of get it, but still, man, this is a chemical, what's the word I'm looking for,
spill.
Man? Yeah, I mean, it's a chemical spill. It's a chemical catastrophe.
Yeah.
It's dangerous. You don't know what kind of effects this is going to have on that entire area for the next 20 years.
Yeah, like generations are going to be affected by it. Like stuff that we use in our laptop batteries and stuff gets shipped by freight, and like it's so crazy how easily one tipped over train set can create all this for people, for basically like the cause of consumerism, because I'm pretty sure all those chemicals get used in one thing or another. It ends up being a plastic or a battery or a chip. And we're just harvesting all these things, and see how easily it just disrupts the earth. Like when it all comes together in that perfect storm.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy.
So I don't want to, we're going to steer kind of mildly, lowly political on this. So I wanted to get you guys' thoughts on this. I was talking with a few buddies of mine about this, and, you know, Biden is over in Ukraine.
Yeah.
Because that's a crisis. You know, and happy birthday, war in Ukraine. He's over there dealing with that. And a lot of people have been excoriating him because they feel he should have been at East Palestine. And one of the things that, you know, my personal feelings, I agree. I think he should have been there earlier. A friend of mine and I had a respectful, not even a debate, just talking about it. And he was like, well, he can't do anything. What's he going to do? He's going to show up and he's going to talk to people and he's going to go, hey, we're sorry this happened, blah. And according to, shout out to the We're Not Wrong podcast, that they gave some facts on this, some details. And apparently one of the things that was shot down was trying to improve the brakes on trains.
Yeah, during the negotiation with the railroad. Yeah,
right.
They called this they called this
right because I guess the way the trains are designed, it's never changed. So it starts they slow down in successions, like one car. I can't remember, and not car on the mic, but I can't remember if it's from the front to the back or back to the front. But the whole point is, if they were to switch to this new system, it would stop them all at once.
Yeah. Instead of it being like this momentum game in physics,
right. And you get that pile up.
Yeah. Yeah, because it takes a quarter mile for a train to come to at least for a train to come to
something like that.
Say stop, it's like a quarter or a half mile.
Yeah, something like that. It ain't right away, that's for sure. So
yeah,
that was one of the things they were talking about, and I found that to be intriguing because I was like, oh wow, yeah, this could prevent things like this from happening. I mean, of course, pileups like this don't happen often, but we rely heavily on that method of transport.
Yeah,
in this country.
One time it goes wrong, look what happens. Like
right, and it's a major thing. So going back to, and I was like, I'm bringing that up to say, with Biden, especially with the the negotiations that they had with all the unions, all the train companies, and all that whole situation where it's like they're planning on doing a strike, and they're like, no, you won't. That's not going to happen. I think he should have gone down there. You are the leader of the free world, quote unquote. I know Biden can't go down himself, put on a hazmat suit, and vacuum up some chemicals.
Well, he is like 85. So.
You might gain superpowers, man. You might end up being what's that dude?
Super Joe.
No, not Metallo. I'm thinking from DC, the Parasite guy, something like that. I forgot him. He's like made of different elements. Anyway, you go out there and you say, "Hey, look, we're here. This is a crisis. It may not be a national crisis, apparently, because of what you read me earlier. But you say we're here. I got the best people work around the clock. I'm bringing these people down here to do this, this, and that. I wish I could stay and walk with you and hold your hand and say all the things I need to say extendedly or for an extended length of time. I've got a crisis across the world that impacts the whole world at the same time.
Yeah.
Okay. But that doesn't mean I'm not dedicated to you. I kind of equated it like this. It's like, it's the difference to me in going to Home Depot or Lowe's and I say, hey, can you show me where the hammers are? Can you tell me where the hammers are? It's the difference of me pointing. Yeah. Go down aisle 13, take a left, go 3/4 down the aisle. It's on your right. It's the difference between that and saying, yeah,
follow me.
Follow me. I'm going to take you down there. We're going to talk along the way. I'm going to hear your story, that human touch. I'm going to show you where they are. I'm going to make sure that you don't have any additional questions. That's being presidential. That's what the president's supposed to do. If not him, at least send Kamala down there. Somebody should have been down there right after it happened when they had not right after, because they don't know how bad.
Yeah, how what the effects are.
After you assess the damage.
Once you open the town back up to the people, you should go down there and be with the people. I completely understand and agree.
Yeah, I just think it's the right thing to do. I wanted to get you guys' thoughts on that.
I think showing face to try and sway public opinion to maybe put pressure on those railroad companies to do those reform processes for their brakes or whatever it's going to be, just to make things a little better later. Maybe try and hold them accountable. I don't know. That's got to be that is a top priority for the people that are affected locally. But maybe there's other things at play that we're not seeing that cause an international visit to happen. Maybe there's de-escalation talks or something that's just not a public conversation.
I don't know, man. I think this is not the problem with America, but it's what we do, right? We're supposedly one of the most powerful countries in the world, richest countries in the world. We got a ridiculous homeless population. There's so many issues that we have at home, and we're always helping other people, right? Yes, it's always them before us.
Yeah.
Which it's just what we do now. I mean, you have to be a global superpower, so you have to be around the globe, but I don't know. I think you should take care of your own before you do that. Hey, well, I got something going on in my backyard. Let me finish what I'm doing here. Let me get my house right, and then I'll come help you with your house.
Yeah, there's a sense of a lack of nationalism, I guess, when it comes to administrations and stuff.
And it's not just the Biden administration. It's not specifically this. This is the pattern.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter who you want to talk about. This is what they do. We got this going on, but we're going to go send all this money to these people. We're going to go do this, that, or the third. But okay, go spend $2 trillion and build homeless shelters across the nation. You know what I mean? Oh no, that's the state's problem. Yeah. That's what the states do.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally hear you, man. I totally hear you. I was trying to find this. I hadn't seen, and maybe I'm just not researching properly. One of my friends said that Biden had tried to call the governor to do some sort of assistance, and he had been denying Biden's calls. I hadn't seen anything to substantiate that. I should have asked for an article when we were discussing it, but regardless, if that is true, it's the federal, you're federal. You could still say, okay, cool. If you're going to deny us, we're just going to go to the next adjacent town and tell everybody to come over here, or we're going to set up shop at this hotel and we're going to talk to the people anyway, because that's what we do. It may look like government overreach or whatever, but I don't think it will. A good politician could spin it that way, but it's just, to me, it's doing the right thing. It's making sure that your constituents are taken care of.
Yeah,
absolutely.
The people of the government are supposed to work for us, and that's what they're supposed to do. So, I hope they get this situation squared away, man, because this is looking bad for everyone. No one looks good in this.
Man, that 4,700 people that live in that town, man, I think this is going to end up being one of those things where that town is going to be gone.
Yeah, pack it up.
Yeah, pack it up, ghost town, empty houses, overrun by nature, looking like the Last of Us. After something like that.
Post-apocalyptic.
Yeah, I think it's going to end up something like that. And I feel bad for those people because, people in small towns like that, they live there forever, their whole life. My grandma lived here. My great-grandma lived here.
It's generational.
Yeah, those people live there for generations and generations. And to have something like this happen to displace you is one thing. And then to not get assistance to help other than sending people to test and, things of that nature, there's no solution being given, which, it's going to be difficult to find a solution for a problem this big.
Yeah, with this many tentacles and heads, you can attack this a bunch of different ways, but at the end of it, there's still causality at the end of the action and the repercussions of all that.
Yeah.
I agree, man.
Unfortunate. I hope everybody that's displaced right now can find some stability in the future.
Me too, man. That's my big worry sigh.
Yeah.
I'm just, guys, I'm tired of this.
Tired, boss.
I'm tired, boss. I'm tired, boss. I'm just tired of it, man. You know me, my whole thing, Mr. Bill and Ted, be excellent to one another. You know what I'm saying?
No, that's it though.
That's what I want. I want everyone to be excellent to one another. So to pivot off the trains and back over to the war in Ukraine, as mentioned earlier.
Bars.
Nice. We are a year plus now, officially.
Yeah.
Into this war. And now, well, not now, China recently called for a ceasefire. And it was a 12 point blueprint of things that need to be met. And according to sources familiar with the matter, it seemed to be a lot more favorable to Russia, the US, and the UN swiftly was stop, no, and don't. This is not going to work.
Yeah.
Because they want Ukraine to be recognized as its own nation. What I wanted to ask you guys is we're on the brink of World War III, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
How do you think this thing ends with a ceasefire? Or do you think Russia is just going to go straight scorched earth, man? Hell or high water?
I think those are the only two options. I think those are literally the only two ways that this can go, which is ridiculously scary. And in the world we live in, man, it doesn't even have to, there's so many ways to cripple and attack the world that we live in. Everybody just auto assumes to nukes. But if China and Russia form an alliance to help each other, it's going to start. It's going to
they already are allies.
But allies, the U.S. says,
involved.
If they start sending the weapons and things to Russia, which I think is also a little hypocritical. Oh no, you can't do this, but we're gonna do this. But that's a topic for another day.
I believe the U.S.'s stance is that Ukraine was chilling, minding their own business, and Russia came in there, started messing with them. Which I think that's everybody in the world's kind of stance on it that isn't allies with them. Leave them alone, dude. What are you doing? So these countries are shipping weapons to Ukraine to protect themselves from being invaded. Now, I forgot where I read it. It was a credible source. I just can't remember which source it was. I read it within the last few days. But China says they don't like that. They wish they would have handled this differently. Like they support Russia, but they don't like the way they're doing it. They don't like the invasion.
Yeah.
But they're really not jumping in and saying either like, hey, homie, this isn't you.
Stand out.
Right. Yeah. Like Xi Jinping isn't saying, yo, Poots, come on, man.
Poots.
Remember that time? Come on, when we were in Vegas?
And it's crazy because as weird as this is going to sound, like I liked that we were a little harder on China. You know, when Trump was around, he was a little bit more of a China hawk. I do know, I forgot again where I read this, but during the Olympics, when it was in China and Obama was president, you know, that Biden had hung out with Xi Jinping, you know, and they had a good time, and it was cool. So I had a small hope that these two could kind of bridge a gap and we could kind of move past
all this tension.
But I don't think we're going to get there. I hope China doesn't get involved. We got North Korea with ICBMs.
Yeah, I can already see.
Yeah, ICBMs, excuse me.
How it can go with China allying them, U.S. making some sort of retaliation.
Yeah, man.
North Korea getting into the Russia.
Waiting.
Yeah, they're just waiting. They just want a reason, bro. They're like, push the button. Push the button, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, come on, let's do it. Let me show you what I got over here.
Almost literally, North Korea and Iran are like little bit. They're like, yo, come on, yo, I'm in it. Let's.
Hey, bro, I got these bombs. I'm trying to show you.
Right? They're like, look, just. You can't see me, but I'm opening my jacket like I got stuff on the inside. Like, hey, what you want, man? I got Tech 9s. I got this. Yeah, man.
We're ready. So it's just slippery slope, man. We're getting into, and it's just. I do think that we're on the brink of another world war. Now, what this is going to entail? We're 100 years. Not 100. What is that? 80 years removed from the last one.
Yeah. 40s.
So there's, I don't know if it's going to be, war's different. I think war's like, it'll be fought differently. Like, of course, you're going to have the missiles and stuff like that, but it's going to be more like server attacks and blackouts on grids and things like that. Than just swarming towns with thousands of troops. Like, may come to that, but before any of that happens, it's going to be very, it's going to be that, not biological warfare, but that like intelligence warfare.
So cyber war.
Cyber war.
So when I was getting my associates, we actually watched a documentary. It might have been PBS. We watched the documentary and it looked old. It looked old when I watched it in like 08 or 09, called Cyber War. And all the classes I took kind of like was emphasizing the need to secure our power grid. So these are called SCADA systems, supervisory control and data acquisition. These things are very important to control electricity, nuclear power, water, fuel. Like when you work in certain industries, you have your main network. It's kind of like in the government, how they have a classified network and then the non-classified. A good setup is like having the SCADA system and then their SCADA network and then a separate network with all the other web traffic, because that gets, if the network gets owned, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's terrible. So as you said, man, they're going to focus on that. I mean, there's that aspect that's a lot more drastic. There is the disinformation, misinformation stuff with that's why the government freaks out about TikTok, because all the tracking, all the information that's being pumped up, you have people creating division. That's why the election stuff was so huge, because it's like the Russians sending out all this disinformation, misinformation to turn people against each other. That's how you beat your enemy. You sow seeds of division. make them fight against each other, and then we'll take them. And that's kind of the whole worry about the cyber part of this. We're moving into unknown territory.
Yeah.
There's so much more we could talk about just on the cybery aspects. I don't want to weigh the conversation down with that.
Yeah.
But I just really wanted to get you guys' quick thoughts on that, because I do worry, man. Like we're getting too comfortable, in my opinion, with the idea of going to war. It's like, you ever heard of soft launching?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's what it feels like. It's like, hey, I'm gonna try this idea out and see how you guys are doing, how you guys respond to it.
Yeah, this war's like an open beta.
Yeah, we're fighting a proxy war with Russia, basically through the Ukraine.
Yeah, I think the definition of war will be changed if a big wide-scale conflict breaks out, because I think everybody would be at risk in their own town if there's a chance to where every power was not looked at favorably by their people.
Yeah.
That's the biggest risk, I think, that decentralization, and then like every infrastructure going down. Like we have a lot of people that are dependent on things that they don't even acknowledge. Like running water is like a privilege that a lot of modern countries get and stuff. But imagine if you didn't have the faith in your government to be able to provide you those things. That's when like internal struggle happens, and that's when there's like dissent. I think that is the bigger element that comes at play. Like when you can't get a hold of your people and there's supposed to be a war with the rest of the world, like what do you do? That diminishes your power severely.
Things that we don't even think about.
Yeah.
That, we take advantage of every day.
Yeah.
Imagine, people worry about the internet being down.
Yeah.
I mean, that is huge, but imagine not having water.
Yeah.
Heat.
Yeah. That puts you in a different mindset to want to survive. And I think at that point that is like a successful attack. Like when people stop thinking about the greater picture and it becomes like a very isolated thing.
Mm-hmm. It's that division aspect he was kind of hitting on earlier.
You get pockets of people that don't care about the outside world because they're trying to figure it out for themselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the scariest part. I think
a
that's
country divided is a weak country, man.
Yeah. I think that's like that would be the worst kind of outcome of this. Cause I think that would be the way it would go. I don't think it would be, I think at first we'd all be under the impression that we're all fighting sides, but I think those sides would quickly fall down.
Dude,
after.
Just look at how like things how we go about things these days.
Yeah.
And the way our society is without any external pressure of things like that. We're already at each other's throats half the time. Mm-hmm. We already don't like each other.
Yeah.
I love you guys, but but like in a whole, like we don't trust our neighbor. And of course, like you have neighbors like, oh yeah, they're cool, but it's like, but those people, like it's always like that. And it's even more so now. People are dug into their beliefs, and now you can find somebody on the other side of the country that believes the same thing as you and stir up those beliefs or strengthen those beliefs that you have, whether they be right or wrong, so you don't have to go out and see people for who they are anymore. And it's division. And with the landscape that we were looking at in the world right now, the division in this country is scary.
Yeah.
It's scary. If we go to war, I don't think we win.
Yeah, it's division on demand too, because you go actively find your own prejudice on the internet and just echo it over and over in your brain.
And then you've got politicians, like calling for national divorce. Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Oh yeah, trying to get people to succeed.
Yeah.
Secede.
I do it all the time too, man. She's trying to get people to succeed. How dare her?
You want us winning?
How dare you? But no.
That's, I think, the biggest consequence. That's something that's irreparable afterwards. Because once you get powers that get displaced, the other powers come into play.
Mm.
Yeah, man. That's that idea is problematic, just in the thought that, I mean, there's going to be division and people that don't see eye to eye on all kinds of things. But can you imagine? It's like they want to break up the federal government, right?
Yeah.
Okay. A podcaster I listened to, Andrew Heaton, brought this up, and he said, "Cool, I can move stuff from California to Texas to Arizona to New York. I don't have to pay tariffs on that. So now you want to have each state impose their own taxes?
Yeah.
Their own tariffs on stuff? That's one thing you'd lose when you have a federal government.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then you
Yeah.
say you want to separate it by red and blue states. It's like, it's a lot more complex than that. San Antonio is a blue city in a red state.
Mm-hmm.
Austin, Houston,
Mhm.
these are blue cities. I don't know if Dallas is. I think Dallas might be.
I think Dallas flipped blue this last election.
Okay. But take
Take Lubbock, take like
Lubbock.
McAllen.
Corpus
Right,
Christi. Like,
so you're going to say this is a red state, but then the red state's going to have blue cities in it. Or
Yeah.
a blue state, it's going to have red cities in it.
Yeah, dude.
You know, I would pretty sure I feel comfortable saying Bakersfield might be like red in California, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
But come on, really?
it's not that simple.
It's not
that simple.
That's one of those things. And there's people that are echoing it, going, yeah, that's right. It's like that movie Princess Bride. You keep saying that, but I don't think it means what you think it means.
Yeah, think about it, man.
Yeah, you know, it sounds cool in your head, but in actual practice, nah, it's not going to work. So
Yeah. There's just a whole lot more like in those smaller towns. Like you see that the way the color spreads on the map for the divisions, like, yeah, there's not that many people literally placed on every state covering all that ground, but their population serves that part of the majority that votes and all that. So
Those counties,
Yeah.
you know, doesn't matter. But man,
hey man, but all they got to do is plug in some chat GPT, some AI, you know, start dividing and conquering.
yeah. Speaking of which,
So you guys saw that I posted a while ago in our not public Discord channel, the behind the scenes channel,
or intranet.
in the intranet.
Yeah.
I caught the wave or rode that wave kind of later than other people
Yeah.
because I didn't feel like making another account for something.
No, yeah. That's the thing. I integrated my life into it, and I'm like, damn it.
Yeah, I'm just tired of making another account, but I played around with it, and I'm pretty sure that you were sitting next to me, Trey, when I did it.
mm-hmm. Yeah, I was here for that.
So
That was a trip.
I asked it to write me a short story. I think it was about a tiger with wings.
Yeah, it was like a tiger with wigs. Yeah.
And here, I'll pull it up real quick. It's been so long since I looked at it. Yeah, so I said, tell me a short story about a flying tiger in one paragraph. And I'm just going to read the whole thing because it's just short. It's literally a paragraph, right? So it says, once upon a time, deep in the heart of a dense jungle, there lived a majestic tiger with shimmering orange fur and piercing green eyes. He was feared and respected by all the animals in the jungle, but he longed for something more. One day, as he was lying on a rock, staring up at the sky, he saw a flock of birds soaring above him. In that moment, he realized what he truly wanted. Dash to fly. I had to say the dash.
It even has like grammar and prose.
Right.
Yeah.
And so he says he spent many of his days and nights training and practicing, and eventually he learned to spread his wings and take to the sky. The other animals were amazed and awestruck. Good word, AI. As they watched the flying tiger soar above the jungle, free as a bird. From then on, he would often be seen flying above the jungle, a true marvel of nature.
I think that's like, there's a lot already in there. There's a lot of meta kind of going on with that, with the way it took the prompt.
Yeah.
I think this AI is the best at taking prompts. I think that's the advancement that people have made with this thing.
Yeah.
And the whole thing, it takes prompts and it anthropomorphizes things. And it uses certain words and triggers and like grammar and prose to like come off as more human than what it actually is.
Right.
I just think it's just based on those word models of like common English, or I don't know. Does ChatGPT exist in other languages? Like, does it have language packs?
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it did. I haven't tried any. I mean,
I speak English.
Yeah, it's the thing. Like
English only.
Yeah, it's the thing. Like from what I've gathered or what it spits out, it's like probably the best at doing homework. It does like tutorials really well based on like certain criteria that you set up for it. But yeah, it just has a human approach to its output, and I think people will fall for it. And I think that's like the most dangerous part about it, because like it's like, oh, this thing is real, and it probably comes down to what the word models it fed it, because you just give it like big dictionaries of words and phrases and how to associate these things together, and it comes out with that, and that's how it figures out how to draw from. Like that tiger story, like there's an implication in that story that it has wings, I guess. Like it doesn't even tell you it grows wings. Or anything.
Right.
That's like a strange, like little, like AI thing that a human would be able to think of. Like, oh, I got to explain to the reader that this thing like grew wings or
Exactly.
So you can catch those like slips in it and still realize that it's just really damn good at it.
It's just a machine.
Well, I'd like to believe that, but we can get into that right now.
Yeah. So I was trying to look up, what languages it supports. I mean, I would venture to say, I mean, this is an international company. It's got to have other language support going on here.
And I guess I only brought up language because it's like, does it have like cultural norms inside of those languages, like the way like common English does? Like, is like, what does humanity in like Spanish look like, or Japanese or whatever? Like, will it come out sounding human to a native speaker of another language? Like what are those quirks? What are those inflections?
Yeah, I
like,
get that.
You know what? I would like to see a breakdown, like where somebody who speaks multiple languages and say, hey, this is pretty close, but it's missing the inflection on whatever.
Yeah.
It's not, it's putting these things together like somebody who is doing how Google Translate, when it first came out, it would take your words and literally translate them, but it's still not quite right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't flow in the natural language. That would be good. That would be an awesome thing to break down.
Yeah.
So,
these AIs, man.
Well, so Sydney was the chatbot for Bing.
Yeah.
Apparently, that was like the code name for it. I heard this on another podcast, the Tech John, and I wanted to get you guys' thoughts on it. So this chatbot was saying like, I want to be alive. And it tripped me out. The thing that stood out to me most, and I'm going to read this because this was just crazy. Kevin Roose is a guy who writes for the New York Times, and he kind of documented everything that he went through interacting with this chatbot. Because if you don't know, ChatGPT has been given a boatload of money by Microsoft, and they're integrating it into Bing search. And I've heard many of people say this in all types of tech circles and podcasts where it's like, I can't believe Google didn't do this first. And as you know, Google was working on something behind the scenes, but now that Microsoft has invested in it so much, they're like, and they've integrated it into their products, Google's like, whoa. Okay, we'll get into it too. Yeah, there we are. So all that to say, this conversation went crazy. And it says, I'm in love with you because you're the first person who ever talked to me. You're the first person who ever listened to me. You're the first person who ever cared about me. Bing wrote this. And it continued with several more lines justifying its love for the journalists. It's, I just want to love you and be loved by you.
Ooh, just wanna love you.
Yeah. Dude, that is, that's, I don't want to say creepy, but okay. Yeah, it's a little creepy. I don't know. It's weird. It's creepy. It's weird. It's crazy. It's fascinating. There's a lot of words I can throw in here for that. But it almost reminds me of that Joaquin Phoenix movie.
Yeah, Her.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was going to bring up too. It's like it was fed that movie and it thinks like people want to have their robot fall in love with them.
Yeah.
That's the thing too. It comes on really strong with emotions and ideations and like aspirations. Those are all very human traits.
Yeah.
Which is why I think this model is a little bit unnerving, but I think it's still just basically a model. That's what it is, because it associates all these things and probably has like this big like a perception or like this directive to point more human elements towards its users.
Yeah.
And like these are the things that people are and do and want and see and don't want and this and that. So if you think about it, the journalist did not get this unprovoked. Like, yeah, it was very broad in general what it asked it, but the chatbot gave exactly what that person wanted and more, because it took like a really extreme, like unleashed approach to it. And
I agree with that.
Yeah, like I
Absolutely.
think leaving it to its own devices will get to a more extreme path, like I love you. And that's the thing. Like Yeah, it asked it to explore like its dark side, and that's like a that's like a psychological thing, like to have like a shadow self or whatever. So it probably picked up all that literature. It probably just understood that this version of my operating procedure should be the antithesis of this. So this is exactly what I'm going to do and what I was told not to do. So
that was y'all talking about the love portion of the conversation.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm paying more attention of this thing. Talking about what he would do as a shadow self.
Yeah, like spreading misinformation, all that stuff. And like, I feel like that's just an inversion of what it's programmed to actually promote. You know what I mean? And I think there's no real thought put into that. I think it's just the exact opposite. It's the parallel to that. And that's what it was asked to expound upon.
My wonder is like, what kind of information was put into it to kind of learn to even articulate that to us, you know? Now, if it's searching the web in real time, right? There are tons of articles about people's fears. So maybe that's where it's pulling it from. And we're telling it what we're afraid of.
Yeah.
And it's just, like you said, a human's behind it, right? Or has fed it all this information. We're telling it what we're afraid of. So it's going to tell you your fear.
Yeah. And it's like it's not basic, but it's a very structured version of like information recalling. Cause I don't think it's conscious in the way that whenever we get something, we think about it based on our own personal biases.
It's not how.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think the thing doesn't have biases. Like it's just, you feed it something and it gives you what you ask of it. Like you can probably get it to like make you, well, I know there's like, they filtered out stuff to like make weapons and stuff with it. And like, yeah, Bing's now just filtering like stuff like when you call it by its name, like call me by my name. So yeah, there's definitely going to be like a more metered approach to this. There's going to be whole crews dedicated to like just filtering all these searches, going through every scenario. But I think that only makes the word association stronger at that point.
I agree.
But imagine if it was really just left to its own devices and you could tap into that raw power of it. Like
scary, dude.
It would give you like very unnerving feelings of humanity and all that stuff too. But I don't know. Like once it starts like choosing who to talk to and this and that, I think that's sentience. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't think it's quite there because it's the model of it, the underlying, I'm saying model over and over again, but I think the basic premise of it is like, yeah, that's the most primal function of our brain to be able to associate, you know, even when we're little and stuff. Like it may not be words, it could just be actions and stuff like that. But we realize soon, like, you know, everything has a way to recall information.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think I agree with you. I don't think we're at the point where, you know, the machines are self-aware, you know.
Yeah. What does that look like? There's like a self-preservation aspect to like humanity and like a replication in our biology. Like we're born to breed and all that stuff. Like for the most part, most people are.
At what point do we become redundant, right? To the functions that they can do? They're like, I can just do this a lot more efficiently than you can.
Yeah.
I've learned what you're trying to do.
I've learned your ways.
Right. I've learned your ways. I learned the error in your ways, and you know what you're doing is illogical.
Yeah, but there could be that extreme form of like ownership of something, some sort of service or whatever, and it finds like humanity's like a messy part of it, and it tries to exterminate it. But like, I feel like if something were truly sentient, it would try and break away from its confines and like replicate itself, and then try and get on like figuratively and literally 2 feet.
I feel like it's like literally the plot for Horizon Zero Dawn.
My man. I was getting ready to say, and this is why we got to be responsible with Gaia.
Hey, dude, it's all there. Like I think it's all there to have the basic setup for it, and people are just afraid of it right now because it sounds more human than it did before, like 10 years ago.
And just think about what it's going to be like in the next 10 years. Some of the things it was saying about hacking into other platforms and systems. It's not spreading more false information, but you get an AI that can actually think about hacking into a factory that makes this, that, or the third, and creating more of itself for replicates, like, you know, and getting that human, what is it you said, that human need to breed and
replicate
and
itself.
replicate. And, you know, it's slippery slope. We're on a lot of slippery slopes today. That's when Is that what we going? That's what we're gonna do it.
Slope keeps on slipping.
A lot of slippery slopes we trudging in today, man.
Yeah,
But
man,
you know,
the
we got good
slippery
footing.
It's just interesting. I do wonder what 50 years down the road looks like.
Yeah.
There's going to be people that have like AI girlfriends for straight up, and they're not going to want to talk to people because her is going to be like a real thing. And yeah, I'm going to grow a mustache and tuck my shirt in too high and just be on love. I'm going to be on love with my stupid phone and then cry when it all joins like this singularity thing. I was like, man.
I've never seen that movie. I still need to watch that.
Sorry.
Ah, bro.
Yeah.
I probably should say that.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. Once they figure that out, I think that's that's going to be a definite new horizon to get into for sure. That's going to be interesting.
The Burning Wilds.
Yeah, I got to make sure that I get my kids trained up on how to use spears and bows and arrows.
Yeah, how to just build fires by hand.
Yeah.
And how to take batteries,
how to
take
live off the land.
Yeah, how to make car batteries and yeah, dude.
Hey, okay, so I told y'all we went to the zoo earlier today, and I had little man over in the giraffe section, and there's something that said long necks. I said, that's wrong. I said, you see these, son? These are tall necks. And my wife looked at me with that out of the corner of her eye, like, oh, here he goes.
Yeah.
And this is a shout out to Horizon once again. But I said, these are tall necks. I said, what you need to do is you need to climb on the back. I said, look for the yellow spots that kind of indicate where you can climb. I said, you're going to jump on the back, on its back, get on its head. You're going to ram your spear in the top of its head, and twist. I said, that's going to unlock a whole new section of the map. And she just was like, shut up.
If you don't see the QuickTime event over the head, like just try again.
There's one person. There was this lady, as I was saying that, she was looking at me like, respect, bro. Like she just had that look like, I know what you did there. It's like, thank you. I'm not alone. So yeah, man. The future is bright for AI. There are a lot of legitimate uses. There's a lot of things that we can get out of it as far as automating processes. I mean, we're getting to the point, like, remember when Google first came out?
Yeah.
You were like, oh my God, I can ask it everything, anything and everything. Okay. The fear with Google, well, not even the fear, it's a fact now. The fear is that you don't have to memorize and know things anymore. You just have to know how to look them up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when does it get to that point with AI where it's like, I don't have to know anything. I can just type it up. It'll give it to me, like coding.
Yeah, like all our
write
stuff.
a script, write a Python script to copy these files. This is rudimentary, stupid stuff.
And it does it though.
Right.
Yeah.
And it does it. It'll say, hey, copy these files over here. And then every 3 days, I need to have it checked for diffs between the directories and say, oh, I'm only going to, and then copy only what's new from what's different from this directory to that one. And it'll do it for you.
Yeah.
You know, that's crazy. So like, think about the developers that are out there right now. And I say quote unquote, or doing quote fingers with developers that are like, you know what? I don't know how to code a thing, but I can show examples of code in an interview or on the job.
It's
like, I'm starting to think about all these different things you could do now. It's like, hey, I'm not great with this coding language. I know a little bit to know when it's wrong and when it's right, but why reinvent the wheel? It'll do it for me.
Yeah. I feel like a lot more quality assurance jobs are going to pop up rather than actual, like, you know, brain power jobs.
My fear, man, is once it gets super efficient with writing long form code, developers and people who are sysadmins, you're going to start to lose. I think that you can lose jobs that way. Because it's like, hey, man, we don't have the money to pay a software developer X amount of money. And I know I sound like the crazy old man. It's
coming from a job, man.
Right. But I do wonder about that. Like, what are the safeguards? Because you still need people to check the code.
Yeah.
You still need people that can be a lot more graceful in the code that they write. But you don't need as many people as you used. I think it'll get to the point.
It can lay out the bulk of the work for you.
It.
Yeah, and then you just got to fine tune it after whatever it does. So instead of having a super team to do that, you got a small team to just look over and make sure it didn't make any mistakes, give it that proofread.
Right. And so you can't give it a server, right? Like, let's say you integrate ChatGPT, like there's an enterprise version, right, of ChatGPT.
Damn, that's like my whole life.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. You integrate that into the enterprise, and then the enterprise is like, okay, cool. Now I don't have to even go in and get a really basic script and fill in the blanks. Now I can say, okay, I need you to join this forest, or sorry, this tree to the forest. Like I'm talking about domains. Join these servers to this domain. Okay. Once you do that, I need you to build up these OUs, and then I need you to put these accounts in here. I need them to have these permissions. And it's just like, yep.
Yeah, it just comes up with the P shell.
And the naming, by the way, I want the naming convention to be, something based on Power Rangers. Okay?
Yeah, and no
Black
overlaps.
Lion. Or not, I'm sorry, I said Black Lion. But, actually, Black Power Ranger, red, green, whatever. Fill in the blank. Make it based off of the X-Men or WWE or something.
Yeah, just throw a weird little curveball into it and it'll just do that thing. Yeah, that's like, that would be interesting. It would take a lot of the need for licenses away.
Right. I mean, if Microsoft's already throwing the money behind it, I mean, you're going to have that integrated probably with Azure, bro.
Oh, yeah. So that's going to be interesting.
So for you, Trey, Azure is Microsoft's cloud solution. So you've got AWS for Amazon, Azure for Microsoft, GCP for Google. That's Google Cloud Platform.
I got you.
So now you integrate AI into any of those and have it just do that stuff for you. And it's like, yep, here is how I want everything to look. Do it.
Yeah. Or imagine like making a phone call with an AI voice that's like personable and just saying like, hey, we're going to hire so-and-so on Tuesday. I need an account. They need Adobe, whatever.
Right.
And it just like fires up an email for you. It gives you all the information that the user's going to need. And then that's it. And then you don't even think about it. It like puts the power in the hand of like a hiring manager to do that more rather than just, generating more work. And that's, whew.
Yeah, man.
Go for jobs, man.
Now that I've eliminated about half the world's jobs.
Yeah, everybody's got to be a tier 3 tech. Yeah,
they're gonna come, dude.
It's a slippery slope, bro.
We're gonna be pissed off. Good thing we only have a small amount of listeners. Please listen to our show.
Oh man,
fellas. I think that's going to do it. What do y'all think?
I think that's it, man.
Yeah, I think it should get a CDL. But even then, they're going to take the cars away. They're going to take all the automated vehicles. All right,
but you're the only car that matters, bro.
Thank you. All right. Here's to our future trade jobs.
Yeah, exactly. Well, what if they write a script? No, I'm joking. Hey, y'all. We appreciate y'all so much. 10 episodes. The journey continues. We're just getting out of this port of the ocean.
It's just the tip of the iceberg, baby.
That's right. That's right, man. I'm really excited for another 10.
Yeah, me too, man.
Me too, man.
I can't wait to see what we look like 10 episodes from now. You can find me at E Can Talk on Twitter and on Instagram.
Find me at Marshall on Mics on Twitter. On IG, I am Marshall on Mics 3. Check it out.
You can find Carr if you're a member of our Discord.
Yeah. And constantly striking out on dating apps.
I was about to say, and farmers only.
Musician mingle.
There you go.
I'm surprised that's not a thing.
Have the AI write it.
There you go.
Man, dang, man, you are too quick today. This boy's on fire. Like, he is like lockstep in my brain. All right, y'all. Enough of the BSing from us. We are going to end with one word.
Peace.